In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on October 26, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 games after fully watching this video. One thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Missouri versus Alabama. One of the most highly anticipated matchups in college football this weekend takes place in the Southeastern Conference, where the 21st-ranked Missouri Tigers will face off against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Historically, Alabama has dominated the series, holding a 5-2 lead in head-to-head meetings. The Crimson Tide have also won the last 5 encounters, with their most recent victory coming in 2019, when they defeated Missouri 38-19 in Columbia. Both teams will enter this game with significant stakes on the line, making this clash one to watch. After suffering a tough road loss to Tennessee last week, Alabama returns to Tuscaloosa hoping to get back on track with a win at home against Missouri. The Crimson Tide are struggling to find consistency in the early stages of the post-Nick Saban era and face a critical juncture in their season. With the expanded 12-team college football playoff format beginning this year, Alabama's playoff hopes are hanging by a thread. They simply can't afford another loss. They still have a challenging road game ahead at LSU, but securing a victory this weekend will keep their postseason dreams alive. Meanwhile, Missouri is also eyeing a potential playoff berth, though their 6-1 record doesn't come without questions. In their last outing, quarterback Brady Cook sustained an ankle injury severe enough to send him to the hospital, yet remarkably returned later in the game to lead the Tigers to a comeback win. This chaotic, roller coaster style has defined Missouri's season so far. Alabama's offense currently raises serious concerns, especially with how ineffective they've been running the ball. Unfortunately for them, things likely won't improve against Missouri's defense, which ranks 34th nationally in rushing yards allowed. If Alabama leans too heavily on the passing game and relies on quarterback Jalen Milroe to make plays with his arm, Missouri's secondary is well equipped to cause problems. The Tigers are even stronger in pass defense, and their ability to stifle Alabama's attack could keep the game within reach. However, if Missouri fails to slow things down, they lack the offensive firepower to survive in a high-scoring shootout. The Tigers do have a couple of standout receivers, but their running game has struggled mightily in Southeastern Conference play. Ultimately, while I don't see Missouri pulling off the upset, the current betting line, moving from -13 to -16, and a half in Alabama's favor, opens up opportunities. With a spread that wide, Missouri's defense should have enough fight to keep things close, creating a backdoor cover scenario. Alabama, at this stage, will take any win they can get, even if it's by a narrow margin. Given the unpredictable nature of both teams, the Missouri Tigers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Missouri's strategy heading into this game will likely involve a conservative game plan, avoiding the risk of turning it into an up-and-down scoring shootout with Alabama. The Tigers are built to compete in a grinded-out, low-scoring affair, similar to Tennessee's approach against the Crimson Tide last week. In that game, Tennessee limited Alabama to just 17 points, keeping the game well below the projected total. Missouri will also need to be cautious with quarterback Brady Cook, whose ankle injury remains a concern. Cook is the centerpiece of the Tigers' offense, and the coaching staff will likely avoid putting him in situations that could aggravate his injury. This means Missouri will probably limit risky play calls, such as run-pass options and rollout passes, resulting in a more predictable and conservative offensive scheme. Their goal will be to control the clock, sustain long drives, and keep Alabama's offense off the field to prevent the Crimson Tide from generating explosive plays. Alabama's offense has sputtered in recent weeks, managing only 17 points against Tennessee and 27 the week before. If those trends continue, Missouri's defense, which ranks 10th nationally in points allowed, has a good chance of keeping the game competitive. While Missouri's offense has shown flashes of potential this season, it hasn't emerged as a dominant force. Even with Cook under center, the Tigers have averaged just 33 points per game, game, placing them 35th in the nation. However, that number drops significantly in conference play, where they're averaging a modest 20 points per game. Now, with Cook still nursing an injury and the possibility of turning to their backup quarterback in a hostile road environment, Missouri's offensive outlook becomes even more uncertain. Scoring consistently against Alabama's defense will be a daunting task. On the other side of the ball, Missouri's defense has been their calling card, performing at a high level despite not facing elite offenses. They rank 12th nationally, allowing just 18 points per game against Football Bowl subdivision opponents. While Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe brings dynamic playmaking ability, it's unlikely that the Crimson Tide will erupt offensively. Given Alabama's recent scoring struggles, I expect this game to stay relatively low scoring. Betting on the total to go under the projected line feels like a solid play, as both teams are likely to rely on their defenses and play it safe. With Missouri's strong defense and Alabama's offensive inconsistency, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Brigham Young University versus Central Florida. We have a high-stakes Big 12 conference showdown set for Week 9 of the college football season, as the 11th-ranked Brigham Young University Cougars travel to FBC Mortgage Stadium in Orlando, Florida, to take on the Central Florida Knights on Saturday afternoon. This exciting matchup will air exclusively on ESPN, making it a must-watch event for football fans. Both teams are heading into the game with very different momentum, which adds intrigue to the contest. The Cougars remain undefeated this season and are coming off a thrilling 38-35 victory over the Oklahoma State Cowboys at home last Friday. Meanwhile, the Knights are currently on a 4-game losing streak, most recently falling 38-35 in a hard-fought road game against the Iowa State Cyclones. Both teams are hungry, Brigham Young University to keep their perfect record intact and Central Florida to bounce back from their recent struggles. The Brigham Young University Cougars have been one of the most surprising success stories of the 2023 college football season, maintaining a perfect 7-0 record despite some close calls. Several of their victories have been by one possession, and in a few games, they managed to pull off wins despite being outgained on offense. On the other hand, the Central Florida Knights are in a slump, dropping 4 straight games, including a heart-wrenching loss to Iowa State that many argue they should have won. Despite the contrasting trajectories of these two teams, the betting line tells an interesting story. Central Florida has moved to -2.5 favorites at some sportsbooks. Although more than 75% of public bets and 90% of the total betting handle favor Brigham Young University at the time of writing, the line has shifted by 4 points in favor of Central Florida. While this could seem like typical Vegas trickery, there are some solid football reasons behind the line movement. One key reason Central Florida could pull off the upset lies in their powerful ground game. The Knights are ranked among the top 5 teams nationally in both expected points added per rush and overall rushing success rate, averaging an impressive 280.3 rushing yards per game. Brigham Young University struggled to contain the run just last week, allowing Oklahoma State to rack up 269 rushing yards. Given Central Florida's strengths on the ground, this could spell trouble for Brigham Young University's defense. Additionally, Central Florida has thrived at home against ranked opponents. The Knights have gone 9-3 against the spread at the Bounce House when playing ranked teams and boast a perfect 7-0 against the spread record in games with single-digit point spreads. With these trends in mind, it's clear the sportsbooks are taking a position on Central Florida in this matchup. Following that logic, the recommendation here is to take Central Florida to hand Brigham Young University its first loss of the season, so the Central Florida Knights money line is our full game side pick. Offensively, the Brigham Young University Cougars have been lighting up the scoreboard, scoring 34 or more points in 6 of their 7 games this season. Quarterback Ritzlaff has been effective in the passing game, which bodes well for Brigham Young University against Central Florida's secondary, ranked 108th nationally in pass defense. However, the Cougars' defense has shown vulnerability as they gave up 421 total yards to Oklahoma State last week. Central Florida's offense, which is averaging a robust 465 total yards per game, will be looking to exploit those defensive weaknesses. The Knights play at a fast pace, ranking 38th in the nation in plays per game, which puts additional pressure on opposing defenses. Central Florida will also lean on quarterback Jackery Brown's mobility to attack Brigham Young University's inconsistent rush defense. Brown has already accumulated 330 rushing yards, and with the Cougars struggling to stop the run, he could have another big day on the ground. The over is 4-1 in Brigham Young University's last 5 games, highlighting their tendency to get into high-scoring affairs. Given the offensive firepower on both sides and Brigham Young University's defensive struggles, this game has all the makings of a shootout. As a result, we expect plenty of points on the board. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Illinois versus Oregon. Week 9 of the 2024 college football season is here, bringing an exciting matchup between the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Oregon Ducks. This game marks the first time the two programs have met since 1995, when Oregon narrowly edged Illinois with a 34-31 win. Both teams enter with different levels of momentum, and they will each be looking to make a statement as the season reaches a critical juncture. Oregon, fighting to maintain its top ranking, hopes to remain unbeaten, while Illinois aims to build on flashes of promise despite ongoing challenges. Oregon enters this game as the #1 team in the nation, continuing its offensive tier with at least 31 points in each of its last 6 contests. The Ducks have been dominant, particularly at home, and recently steamrolled Purdue in a decisive victory. Meanwhile, Illinois has struggled with consistency, particularly on offense. 2 games ago, they barely escaped a poor Purdue team, and their performance last week against Michigan was uneven, despite the upset win. While Illinois managed to take down the Wolverines, it's important to note that Michigan outgained them despite lacking an effective passing game. If Illinois hopes to compete in this matchup, they'll need to find a way to clean up their mistakes and play their best football from start to finish. Oregon will face some significant obstacles, with key players on both sides of the ball ruled out due to injuries. Defensive end Jordan Burch, who has been a cornerstone of the defense with 19 tackles and 5 sacks, will not play. His absence could weaken Oregon's ability to generate pressure. The Ducks will also miss tight end Terrence Ferguson, a versatile player who has provided 321 receiving yards on 20 catches and made key contributions as a blocker. While these injuries could create some vulnerabilities for Oregon, Illinois will need to capitalize on these opportunities. The Illini have already shown they can compete with top-tier teams, as evidenced by their win over Michigan and a narrow loss to Penn State. Their defense has been effective, known for applying pressure and forcing turnovers, which could be crucial against Oregon. If Illinois can make a few early stops, they could build momentum and stay competitive. Quarterback Luke Altmaier's ability to protect the football will be vital, as turnovers could quickly turn the tide against an Oregon defense that thrives on forcing mistakes. Illinois defense has been one of the team's strongest assets, playing a major role in their win against Michigan. The Illini currently rank 24th in the nation in sacks and 36th in interceptions, which indicates they have the tools to disrupt Oregon's quarterback Dylan Gabriel and limit his opportunities. Illinois has also been solid in pass defense, allowing just 198.9 passing yards per game, ranking 41st nationally. While the Illini may not have the offensive firepower to engage in a shootout, their ability to score a few times and make defensive stands could keep them in the game. The key factor will be whether their defense can frustrate Oregon's offense enough to limit big plays and force mistakes. Oregon's offense has been explosive, scoring at least 31 points in 6 consecutive games, but Illinois has been impressive against the spread, covering in each of their last 5 road games. Although Oregon is expected to win and remain undefeated, the 21.5-point spread might be a bit ambitious. Illinois has shown the ability to hang around in tough games, and their defense gives them a chance to keep things within striking distance. As a result, the Illinois Fighting Illini to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Offensive inconsistency has been an ongoing issue for Illinois, which raises concerns heading into this game. Despite their upset win over Michigan, the Illini managed only 21 points, relying heavily on their defense to secure the victory. Luke Altmaier has had trouble with efficiency, often struggling to connect on deep passes and extend drives. In their last 3 games, Illinois has failed to score more than 24 points, revealing a tendency to struggle against stronger defensive teams. This pattern does not bode well against an Oregon defense that allows just 17 points per game and ranks 11th nationally. Oregon's defense has been a major reason for their success this season, consistently stifling opposing offenses. They have held opponents to 14 points or fewer in 4 of their last 5 games. The only teams to break through against the Ducks were Ohio State, which put up 31 points, and Boise State, which scored 34 early in the season. However, Illinois does not have the same level of offensive talent as either of those teams, which suggests they will struggle to put up points in bunches. Both teams feature strong defenses, which could make this a lower scoring game than expected. If Illinois can force turnovers and limit Oregon's scoring opportunities in the red zone, they could hold the Ducks to field goals instead of touchdowns. Such a defensive performance would keep the game close and give Illinois a chance to cover the spread. At the same time, the Illini's offense is not explosive enough to put up big numbers. Recent trends support the idea of a low-scoring game. The total has gone under in 5 of Illinois' last 7 games and in 7 of Oregon's previous 10 matchups. With both defenses performing well and Illinois likely trying to slow the pace of play, betting on the under seems like the logical choice. Although Oregon is the better team and expected to stay undefeated, Illinois defense should keep them competitive enough to avoid a blowout. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.